Good evening. I have music playing, but I have it playing low, so I don't know if you all can hear it because I'm still not sure how I feel about it. But of course, if you're watching the replay, feel free to check the comments to see when the practice starts. And if you're here live, welcome. My name is Misha, aka Yoga Mish, aka Pieces of Mish, and I am a yoga teacher in training, teaching classes on YouTube to work towards my yoga teacher certification. So that's coming soon. It's coming, but I'm taking my time, moving slowly, and transitioning into this period of rest. It's October 1st, so we're in a new month, and I always see new months as new beginnings. So, we'll see what October has to bring. But the reason why I wanted to do this practice tonight, yoga for when you're feeling disconnected, because as always, there's a lot going on in the world, but more recently, it feels like very back to back to back, at least for me and what I'm consuming via social media, on the news, all of those things. And what I've noticed for myself is that when things get challenging in the outer world, I find it easy to disconnect. And not only am I disconnecting from the world, but also disconnecting from my body. And I thought, if I'm disconnecting from my body, I may not be the only one. So yesterday, I flowed through just some gentle movements that I feel like helped me come back into my body, come back into myself, and prepare myself to integrate back into the world again. So, with that being said, hopefully this practice here tonight will help you feel that being the first part, feel connected to your body using, breath and subtle movement. So we are going to be doing some like repetitive movements, and then we'll pause in moments of stillness. So we are going to move very slowly and gently in today's practice, giving our body really what it needs at this time. And yeah, so everything that I say is a suggestion. Feel free to do whatever you feel like you need to do in your time here together on the mat, but also listen to your body before you listen to me. Be safe. If something hurts, don't do it. Be gentle. So, yeah, and I wouldn't recommend this practice for anyone who is expecting, because we will be doing some twists, gentle twists, but we'll still be twisting. And I would recommend, there's a bunch of prenatal yoga teachers on this platform, so I would suggest that form of yoga if you are expecting. But if you're ready, I got some tea because I'm going to drink some tea as we move slowly through this practice. So feel free to grab your tea, blanket if you need it, and we will start today's practice. So we'll start today in a seated pose, and that can look like crisscross applesauce, how you see me right now, or that can look like legs out ahead of you. So whatever feels good in your body, feel free to find that seat. So moving slowly, taking your time, finding your comfortable seat. And when you find your seat with your back upright, I invite you to find your breath. And if it feels safe for you, you can also close your eyes. But finding your breath, inhaling and exhaling. And as you inhale and exhale, I invite you to notice how you're breathing. And if you can inhale through your nose And exhale out of your nose, just seeing how that feels. And as you breathe in and out of your nose, I invite you to bring your awareness to the space between your eyebrows and the center of your forehead. Inhaling and exhaling. And noticing if you're holding any tension in that space between your eyebrows. And if on your next exhale, you can soften and release. Inhaling and exhaling. And on your next exhale, I invite you to drop your awareness down to your mouth. Noticing where your tongue is sitting in your mouth. And if on your exhale, you can rest your tongue at the base of your mouth. Noticing if you're tightening your lips. And when you exhale, you can soften your lips down. Inhaling and exhaling. And on your next exhale, I invite you to drop your awareness down to your shoulders. Noticing any sensations that may be coming up in your shoulder area. Inhaling and exhaling. Noticing if you're crunching in your shoulders. And if on your next exhale, you can exhale and drop your shoulders down. Inhaling and exhaling. And as you continue to inhale and exhale, on your next exhale, I invite you to drop your awareness down to your chest, your heart center. Noticing any sensations that may be coming up in your heart. And maybe you place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Inhaling and exhaling. And as you inhale and exhale with one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, maybe you notice some sensations of your chest and stomach expanding on your inhale and contracting on your exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. And As you inhale and exhale with one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, I invite you to set an intention for your practice today. Today's practice is for when you're feeling disconnected. So I invite you to think about what it is you're seeking connection to, and how you can use this practice to work towards that connection you're seeking. Inhaling and exhaling. And when you feel complete in setting your intention, I invite you to bring a gentle sway into your practice, swaying from side to side. And as you sway, I invite you to sync your breath with your movements. So that could look like inhaling up to center, exhaling to one side, inhaling up to center, and exhaling to the opposite side. So continuing that gentle sway according to your own breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And feel free to drop your hands on your lap if you would like to, or you can keep one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And as you sway from side to side, I want to put a reminder out there about remaining grounded in our seat. So if you find your hips coming up as you sway in one direction and your hips coming off the ground as you sway in another direction, I invite you to make your sway just a little bit smaller so that we can keep our hips and our butt grounded on the ground, only moving from the waist up, finding our gentle sway, inhaling and exhaling. And when you're ready, we'll find stillness with our backs upright in our seated position. And in this moment of stillness, I invite you to notice. Notice where any sensations may be coming up in your body. And maybe you invite your inhale into those spaces and release on the exhale. you're ready, inhaling and exhaling, we're going to bring some seated cat-cows into our practice. So placing our hands on our knees or on our thighs. On the inhale, we're going to inhale, bringing our chest out, shoulders back, chin up. And on our exhale, we're going to curl our back, tucking our pelvis, tucking our shoulders, letting our head hang heavy. Inhale, bringing our chest out, shoulders back, chin up. Exhale, curling our back, tucking our pelvis, letting our shoulders curl in front of us, letting our head hang heavy. And continuing this movement according to your own breath. Inhaling, opening up, and exhaling. So continuing that movement according to your own breath, moving slowly. And when you're ready, we'll find stillness again in an upright position. Finding our breath, inhaling and exhaling. And as you sit in stillness, you may find your mind wandering a bit. And when that happens, I invite you to bring your mind and your body back to your breath, back to your inhale and your exhale. And when you're ready, on your next inhale, I invite you to inhale both your arms up overhead, palms towards the sky. And exhale, palms facing the ground. Bring our hands back down to our side. Inhaling our arms up overhead. And exhale, letting our arms drop back down to our sides. And we'll inhale our arms up overhead one more time. And this time on the exhale, we'll exhale only dropping our right hand down to the ground to our side. Keeping that left hand up in the air. Finding our breath, inhaling and exhaling. And then finding a side body stretch, pointing those fingertips towards the right side of the room. And as we find this stretch, noticing the space between your ears and your inner elbow, your arm. Inhaling and exhaling, finding your breath. And when you're ready, we'll inhale that right arm back up to meet our left. And on the exhale, we'll drop our left hand down beside us, finding our breath. And then finding that stretch, letting our left fingertips point, right fingertips point towards the left side of the room. And when you're ready, we'll inhale that left hand back up to meet our right hand. And then we'll drop our right hand back down to the ground. And now we'll bring in a sequence of movements. So we'll inhale that right hand back up. And exhale, drop the left hand. Inhale our left hand up to meet our right hand. Then exhale. So finding this movement according to your own breath. Inhaling to center. Exhale, finding the stretch on one side. Inhaling to center. Then exhale, finding that stretch on the opposite side. So continuing that according to your own breath cycle. Moving slow. And syncing your breath with your movement. And remembering that you can take a break whenever you want. You can take a pause whenever you want. I'm going to take a sip of tea. And when you're ready, we'll find stillness with both our hands up in the air. And on the exhale, we'll drop our hands down to our side, finding stillness once again in our upright position. And we'll find stillness for about a minute. Remembering to inhale and exhale as we find stillness. And before we move on to our next movements, if you've been sitting in crisscross applesauce with your legs one way, I invite you to switch them Maybe bringing your other leg in front. I know my legs were getting a little bit tired that way, so if you need to adjust for comfort, please do that. Finding your breath, inhaling and exhaling. When you're ready on your next inhale, we're going to inhale our arms up overhead. And on the exhale, we're going to exhale our arms down. And as we're exhaling our arms down, we're going to twist our bodies to the right. Turning to the right, we're going to drop our left hand to meet our right knee and our right hand beside us. So we're not going to go too far on our twist. Right here. So noticing if your back is upright, noticing the space between your ears and your shoulders as you look over your right shoulder. Inhaling and exhaling in your twist. And as you're in your twist, noticing what you can soften. Can you soften your hand that's resting on your knee? Can you soften your face down? Can you soften your toes? Noticing the muscles you do not need to use in this twist. Inhaling and exhaling. And when you're ready, on your next inhale, we'll inhale, bring our arms up overhead, coming out of our twist. And on the exhale, we'll twist to the opposite direction, bringing our left hand beside us and letting our right hand rest on our left knee, looking over our back shoulder. Inhaling and exhaling. And when you're ready, on your next inhale, we'll inhale our arms up, coming out of our twist. And we'll exhale, forward fold, letting our hands come in front of us, letting your head hang heavy in your fold. Inhaling and exhaling in your forward fold. And on your next inhale, you're going to slowly walk your hands back up to meet your body in an upright position. Finding our breath, inhaling and exhaling. And we're going to prepare to do our twist again, but we're going to do them in a sequence. So if you need to watch me demonstrate that first, please feel free. But when you're ready, I invite you on your next inhale to inhale your arms up overhead. And on the exhale, we're going to exhale, twisting to our right side, letting our left hand rest on our right knee, letting our right hand come beside us. And then on our inhale, we're going to inhale to center, arms up overhead, and exhale our twist to the opposite side. So inhaling to center, arms up overhead, exhale, twisting to one side. Inhale to center and exhale into our twist. So I invite you to continue this movement according to your own breath, moving slow, breathing, and most importantly, listening to your body. And remember that you can pause, you can stop, you can take a sip of your tea whenever you feel like it. And let's go ahead and do one more on each side. And on your last inhale up to center, we'll exhale, forward fold, letting our head hang heavy in our fold. Breathing, inhaling and exhaling. And on your next inhale, you'll walk your hands back up to meet your body, finding an upright position in your seat. And we'll find stillness again for about a minute. Inhaling and exhaling. And noticing any sensations that may be coming up in your body. Maybe you notice feelings you never noticed before. Inhaling and exhaling and breathing through every sensation. Inhaling and exhaling. We'll invite a couple more movements into our practice before we close out our time together. So I invite you to inhale your arms up overhead. On the exhale, we're just going to exhale our arms open halfway, goalpost arms, chest out, chin up, inhaling and exhaling. And earlier in our practice, we found a seated cat-cow, and this movement is going to be much like that seated cat-cow, except we're bringing our hands to it. So inhale, and on the exhale, we'll bring our hands, arms to meet each other, curling our back, letting our head come down, tucking our pelvis in. And on the inhale, we'll open up our arms, open up our chest. And on the exhale, curling our back, bring our arms together, palms to touch. So continuing that movement according to your own breath. And remember that you can feel free to come out of this movement anytime you would like. How about we do one more together? So inhale, opening up. And exhale. And we'll inhale, open up. And we'll exhale, letting our hands come back down to our lap, finding stillness again. And as you inhale and exhale, I invite you to notice and I also invite you to revisit the intention that you set at the beginning of our practice together. And as you reflect on your intention, I invite you to notice how this practice brought you closer to your intention. And when you're ready, I invite you to inhale your arms up overhead. Bring your palms together to touch at the top. And on the exhale, bring your palms down, heart center. Inhaling and exhaling. Thank you all for joining me today for this practice. This was a yoga practice for when you feel disconnected. It is my hope that this practice brought you closer to your intention for today's practice, and that you are able to leave your mat today or this practice or whenever you're watching it feeling closer and more connected to what it is you're seeking. And when you're ready, we'll inhale our arms back up overhead and exhale, letting them drop down to our side. Thank you all for joining me for tonight's practice. Feel free to check out the other yoga practices on my page under my yoga with Mish tab. Feel free to check those out. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. And if you found this practice useful, please like the video as it helps circulate it around the YouTube platform. So thank you all, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.